If I pulled up tonight, with shin pads.
Please do it as for bands. Please, that'll be jokes.
Are there any clubs you nearly moved to that we don't know about?
Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah, secret.
I'm in the gym with Buffon, Higuain. I'm thinking I'm playing for the men's team. Cristiano signs a week later. I'm like, I'm watching Cristiano play. I don't care. No one's stopping me.
So I went from having 2 clubs to none. I disagree with that. I've seen top players at the top level, like wingers or strikers, try and take throw-ins, and they can't.
I would have loved to have ended my career at Man United. Like
I know you would.
that, I used to have dreams of
know
like
you
playing
would.
with Rooney up front, and I'd be scoring. I wake up, I'm like, no. Hi, I'm Lianne Sanderson, and welcome to our new show on DAZN Football. It's called Two Touch. I can't wait to get stuck in with all of the stories of the weeks and all of the hot topics we're going to be across.
Listen, I can't wait to debate against the former England International, FA Cup winner, League winner, European Cup winner. You've won a lot, so now I'm really excited to have a debate with you and talk about all the hot topics in football at the moment.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we're not going to hold back, are we? People want to get involved, you know, send us your topics. We might choose them. The good ones we'll choose. We're going to be here every week. We can't wait. All right, Danny, opening whistle. This is going to be our first segment of the show. Now, I know you and I agree on a lot of things, but I have a feeling the first topic we're going to talk about, we're going to disagree.
What's harder to win, the Premier League or the Champions League? I know what I feel about it.
I have a feeling why. Because there's a picture behind of you lifting the trophy. And when I walked in, I said, where's your Man United picture?
That's a good photo though, isn't it?
I know, it's brilliant. But still till this day, in my whole lifetime, I think you winning the league with Leicester was the craziest thing. So I think, are you a little bit biased with this one? Do you think? If you hadn't have won it with Leicester, do you think you'd have a different opinion?
No, I actually don't. Right? Because I genuinely, my take on this is to go, 38 games, a full season with your squad, with your teammates, travelling home and away. And I think in the Premier League, you can go to, no disrespect, but Ipswich away and find it tough. Southampton, whoever it is, away games are tough. Any away game in the Premier League is tough. And I think to be that consistent over that period of time, yes, we only lost 3 games, by the way, just saying that. But I think with the Champions League, yes, there's obviously better teams, the best teams in Europe. But I think it's only maybe 13 games. Yes, I think the format's changed now.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
But I think along that way, you can have a bit of luck and not play everyone. So that's just my feelings on it right now.
So I have a different take. Obviously, I've won the quadruple with Arsenal, right? Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup. Everyone always says that if they had a pound for every time I mention it. But we're the only English team that's ever won the Champions League, ever. So I always lived by that in 2007. But I think, not discrediting what you've done, I think men's and women's football is completely different, right? When I was at Arsenal, we ran away with everything. We had the best team, we had the best players, and the best team environment. And that leads me on to team environments and the camaraderie. I still remember when you guys were at, was it Jamie Vardy's house? And you won, and based upon the other result. And I remember that video, and I don't think it mattered who you supported during that time. It was great seeing you guys celebrate that. Was there ever a time where you felt like, at Christmas, it got towards Christmas, you know, people are talking about Nottingham Forest now, and they're saying, they're not going to make Champions League. Then they beat Tottenham, on Monday night, and everyone's saying, they could. Like, did you ever listen to the outside noise and think, you know?
It's like, no what? Leanne,
no one thought you were going to win, did they?
No, not until we actually did. It's a good point, because if you asked different players out of the team, they'll all give a different opinion on when they believed they were going to win it. So like Kasper Schmeichel, for example, he would say Christmas time, January, he started to believe it. You know, when everyone says, if you top at Christmas, you normally win the league. I think he believed that then. Whereas other players didn't have that much, I wouldn't say confidence, but were too scared to maybe believe it. So for me, I didn't really want to believe it till I think 4 or 5 games to go. I think when we got a draw with West Ham last minute, whereas other players, I asked them and they would say when we beat Man City at the Etihad 3-1.
And was this after you won? Did anyone have these conversations during the season, or are you saying we all had these conversations at the end?
We didn't have these conversations at all. I think we just kept that same old cliche, next game. We didn't actually discuss it between ourselves. It was still afterwards when everyone said, actually, when did you feel like you was going to win it, or when did you feel confident? And everyone's kind of different. But obviously then we went into the Champions League to touch on that, and we did get to the quarter-final, and I really believe that if we had N'Golo Kante still in our team and that team stayed to get it, and maybe
only man to win the league and then go.
Yeah, which I was disappointed about. But I think to get to the quarter-final was little Leicester, I think was quite good. I think if we'd have kept Kante, maybe we'd have got a bit further. So I just think we had a decent run. So that's why I still believe.
So that shows you that the Champions League is harder.
No, because I don't think we really should have our team got to the quarter-final. And I think we only lost, I think maybe away goals was a thing then.
Yeah.
Now it's not. And I think that I can't know, we're having this debate, but I think the rules keep changing so much that maybe a few years ago with away goals, United might have won more, or Liverpool might. Do you know what I mean? Teams might have had a different mindset going into different games on the bench and determining the rules.
I think the thing is as well, like, it's hard to say. Like, I can't sit here and say it's easier to win the Premier League than it is to win the Champions League and vice versa. But I think when I look back on how, Manchester City have only won it once under Pep. That's how difficult it is. 2 years ago, they won the treble. Like, my best memories are when Man United in 99, every time I still watch it now, I still cry every time Solskjaer scores. It's that thing. As a Man United fan, it's like, you just feel like it's so hard to win the Champions League. And every single year, look at this year. Again, Arsenal are in a great position, aren't they? They could go on to win the Champions League, but then not win the league, because Liverpool are going to win the league. So it's difficult, because you're right, football has changed over the years. The rules have changed, away goals, now the Champions League format's changed.
I think if you put the top 4, top 6 teams into like a European competition or a format where they're just against each other, I think every time we'll get a different winner. But then for that one team to go 38 games, not just against the top 6, if you want to say, I think you will find the team that deserves it. Whereas I think you can get a bit of luck in the competition, in the cup competition. So
you swayed me a little bit, because I came in here pretty strong-minded that I'm picking the Champions League, because I think there's just less people that have done it. Do you know what I mean? Like individual teams, players, and they're my favourite memories. Like when I won the Champions League, like for me, I still remember now when the final whistle went.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you're like, you just don't forget that. And I feel really honoured that I'm blessed to have been able to do that. And I think the team I was on, you probably felt the same. Your team at Leicester, you didn't have the best team, did you, individually? But you had that
we had the team
camaraderie and that feeling. That's how I felt at Arsenal. We did have the best team, I'm not going to lie. But we also had that we would do anything for each other. Anything. Like, some of our teammates didn't really get on. But no one ever knew that. It's like when you're on a team. You don't love everyone you're on a team with. Don't. Respect each other, but...
But did you have that feeling because you did win? Like, cause it's like winning breeds that with each other, and when you share that moment with teammates, you don't have to be like best mates, but to share them moments with each other, I just think it's the best feeling in the world. And just back to my point in terms of like European competitions. I know we're talking about Champions League, but like, look now, we could potentially have teams in a final of a Europa League, for example,
which means more space for everyone.
That are 15th and 16th in the Premier League, and I think it just goes to show.
Man United and Tottenham.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that the Premier League is tough. When you look at across the board, and we could have Man United v Spurs in a final. Yes, Arsenal in the semi-final, they get to the final. Chelsea are in one, but I don't know. Yeah, we could be here all day, but I'm
still sticking to Champions League.
I'm going to stick to mine.
But what you did, honestly, still till this day, like at Leicester, I still think it's like the most incredible thing I've ever come across.
It's coming up 10 years as well.
Wow. You still look 18.
Thanks for that. Well, look, we can debate this all day. Premier League, Champions League. I don't think either of us have changed our mind.
I haven't. But you swayed me a little bit. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. I'm still going Champions League. Round 2, we're in the mix zone. This is our first question.
Has the new generation of football coaching sucked the soul out of the game compared to how football used to be played?
I mean, you can speak from experience to that because we touched upon it before. Like, I personally think it has, but I also think there's an element that everybody wanted to be Pep Guardiola, and not everyone has Pep Guardiola style, players. And I feel like we've gone down this route of like playing without a number 9. Because Pep did it like 2 years ago with Phil Foden, they won the league. Yeah. Then everybody wanted to be a number 10. And now how many number 9s in the world that exist? That's why Isak is going to go for a higher premium. Osimhen's always being linked to Man United because it's like, who else is there? Whereas back in the day, imagine how many number 9s you could reel off. So I just personally feel like it's not just the coaching, but it's like the style of play. You know, I said if you were playing still now, you would touch the ball more than probably Wazza or Van Nistelrooy.
Which I probably would have. I'm a defender. No, I think one thing what does me in is this number 9s, 10s is. So I did some coaching at the weekend just gone, and I was trying to split the kids up into defenders, midfielders, attack. And these kids were saying, I'm a 6, I'm an 8. No, you're a centre mid.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to this box to box, like a Declan Rice? I don't think you ask Declan Rice, he's just going to say he's a centre mid.
Yeah.
I don't think, and whereas everyone else, even kids now seem to just have a specific position. And I just think that's killing the kids.
Do you not think they're doing that, though, based upon who they look up to a certain degree? Because, you know, like they play a lot of FIFA, they play a lot of computer games.
It's the game.
And that's what they're... Because I agree with you. It's like, I just wanted to be a centre forward. I wasn't like, I'm a number 9 or I'm a number 10 when I was younger. I just used to want it to be like Ian Wright, really. That's why I wore number 8 Arsenal in the younger team.
But then I also now think that we're losing our 10s because now everyone's trying to play with 6 and 8s. So the 10 of the Brunos, the Madisons, these creative players, they're now... wide, the wide, and playing on the wing, not wingers, but inside forwards.
Yeah. Inverted winger, or all these different terminology.
I miss fullbacks. Overlapping 2v1s fullback. I miss 1v1 battles. I think I go back to when I was growing up, and I remember the time when we all loved it. Ashley Cole versus Ronaldo. Just them battles, every time they played each other, we couldn't wait for that game. I think it was England and Portugal in the Euros when someone, it was unbelievable. Ashley Cole was I think that put him on the map for me, worldwide. And I think Ronaldo appreciates that as well. And I just think we miss them battles now because it's a lot of tippy-tappy and possession, keep the ball. And I just miss sometimes teams being direct and having a goal.
Or taking people on. Like, you don't really see people taking people on anymore. You see them come inside. You see they want to put the left back at the right side so they can cut in and play it inside. And it's like, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not trying to bring out Man United all the time, but you remember when Beckham and Gary Neville had that telepathy down the right, the overlapping runs and those types of things. But I think, when you look at the grassroots level of football, when you do coaching or when I've coached as well, it's like, I agree with you. It's like players, when you're younger, you just want to, there are some players just want to score goals. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah. Not be the hero, but, not just stand up there and wait for the ball to come. But you're right. It's like, I want to be the 6. I want to be the 8. Well, no, actually, this is what you need to do. And also, enjoy it.
you as, obviously, as a striker, you tell me more now. I don't see strikers running behind now. They all come to feet. Now, as a defender, I want you to come into feet
all day long.
I don't want you running that way.
I say that happy days.
So, obviously, I play with probably one of the best, and obviously Jamie Vardy. But even for me, people think it's a long ball, but just as a right back, just clipping the ball down the channel, and the striker running onto it and keeping on side gets the team up. Whereas now, I just feel like everything's in front. It's tippy-tapping. It's not. I don't feel that's the game's not end to end as much anymore because of that. So you tell me if you see what you see more in strikers now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that I mentioned, Isak and Osimhen and those types of players, like they're going out of. Free. Yeah, and I think back in the day you could reel off Alan Shearer, Van Nistelrooy, Thierry Henry. The list could go on. It was endless who could put the ball in the back of the net. I think you're right. And I said it's happy days for a defender. If you're checking in front all day long and they're going that way, even if the player you're going up against might not have the best technical ability, if someone's running at you 1v1, you're thinking, I've got to look at my back shoulder and I'm going to get caught in behind it. Yeah. I completely agree with you. But I think coaching style has changed. When I see it, really kills me every single time when Man United play up from the back 2 years ago and they concede. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, at what point do players have to take responsibility?
Yeah, they do.
Because a coach is putting in a game plan. Yeah. Look at Southampton this year, beginning of the season.
Yeah,
every single time playing out the back, conceding left, right and centre. Nothing changed. One, if we did that when I was at Arsenal, our manager would be going absolutely ballistic on the sideline. And that's okay if managers also have a go. I think it's getting to a point as well where managers feel like they can't really say anything on the sideline. Do you know what I mean? And there's no kind of orchestrating. Ange Postecoglou doesn't really orchestrate. No. Arteta does. But at the same time, there's no right or wrong. Different managers have different styles.
Is the disconnect between the academy and the first team too big?
I mean, you can speak true to that because I can speak from my own experience of like washing the boots of the players, YTS back in the day. And from what I see, I think there is a big disconnect. I don't think it's necessarily the players don't bring the younger players through. I think the clubs are like, the players are getting too much too soon now, and we're seeing like a consistent pattern where there's so much promise, right? Like, oh, this is the next young player, he's so good, and then they end up kind of like falling by the wayside. And it's not because they're not good, because you don't get to an academy, Danny, at this point, right? It's pretty ruthless in football, we know.
Yeah.
They're like, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I like the fact there's now a path for people when they get released, because I can't even imagine what it must be like for a young boy to get released from academy when they're like 13, 14, when that is their only identity. You know what it's like. Even when I was younger at Arsenal, all the boys used to come from the school round the corner because I played for, there's that girl, she plays for Arsenal. So I can't even imagine what it must have been like for you growing up playing for Man United. Everyone must have been like, oh, he plays for Man United.
Yeah, you get that. And at the time, it does, obviously gives you a big ego. But then when I went full time, and then I was around Carrington, and I'd see the first team players maybe in the canteen. Whereas now, just to touch on what we're saying, now what I've noticed, whether that's since COVID on, I don't know, when everyone got separated, first team, reserves, academy, etc., I don't feel like that's come back. So I can only talk about a couple of clubs I'm around where Leicester, like, we just walk around with the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds. We go in the kit room, and we'd all join each other and mingle.
Love that training ground, by
whereas,
the way.
And whereas now it's all been separated, and even at United a little bit, the first team are there, the academy's there, and I just think that I don't think clubs sometimes realise the disconnect can just come from that, just not seeing your idol, not seeing, just not walking past. And I think it's so like, right, this is the first team, there's the academy, and I think that for me, that's where there's a big disconnect at the moment.
Yeah, even for me, like growing up at Arsenal, like I always felt like I was being like mentored to play for the men's team because I was always around the men, and anytime I saw the male players, I loved it. Do you know what I mean? I was like a sponge. I'd want to watch, my manager used to say, I'd want to watch training, and I'd be like, yeah. And one time I got to like shoot on like Alex Meninga when he was at Arsenal. It was brilliant. I loved it. Do you know what I mean? It was brilliant. Like, I loved being at the training ground in Arsenal, and it was like any opportunity I got, I wanted to be there all the time. And I think you're right. It's like important for them to build that. And maybe you're right about COVID. Maybe since then, I mean, because what else could be the answer?
Well, the only other thing like you touched on is, I said, is the money. They are getting first team wage. They are getting first team contracts now. And they've not really played for the first team because of the promise. So maybe once you've got into the first team, you probably think you've
made it already.
Yeah, whereas you I'm not saying, listen, I know some young lads, I work with them. I'm not saying they lose that little bit of drive. I can only talk for myself. I won the championship at Sunderland on £800 a week. And I look back now and I think, wow, I won the championship. Like, to win, we've just seen Burnley and Leeds go up. And these lads, and the money that they're all on now, obviously the game's changed, but I just think, I remember when I was at Select, I used to work thinking, oh, I want that big contract, because I didn't have it, I had to earn it. So I don't think you earn it as much now. You think your potential gets it. That's
a great point. I mean, I agree with you on that. It's like, what's the incentive if you're 18? Listen, I've said it many times. You're giving me £100 a week and I'm 18. I'm not going to say, actually, no, let me go and clean some boots. Let me put that you keep that money. No. Yeah. So I think the clubs need to take some responsibility as well.
Yeah, because I said it's not on the part. You said you take it.
Of course you would. Of course
I would have. But
100%.
I said we've got to, but then if the clubs don't give it, another club will.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below.
This is round 3. Red card or tapping, quick fire questions.
All right, let's hear the first one then, Danny.
Bringing shin pads to a five-a-side is giving try-hard energy.
Tapping.
VAR. Go on.
All right, then. I play a lot of five-a-side.
No shin pads?
No shin pads.
But who are you playing with? Ex-pros?
And against ex-pros, against other teams.
Not that I'm saying that makes a difference, and I'll elaborate on that in a minute.
But no, it's just a banter thing that when the lad turns up with shins, when we get a new lad to come in, he gets bantered.
But we're talking, right? We're not talking shin pads with the ankle straps from back in the day. Male football, like the footballers' shin pads now are like this.
Yeah, well, that's another debate. I don't like this low socks and
this tiny shin pad. I think the reason why I went to VAR, it is giving like over tryer energy. if you do turn up with shin pads. But if I'm playing in a game against people that I know are going to come and smash me, I'm thinking I'm wearing no shin pads. Especially if I play against blokes, because with me, they don't need a second invitation. If I play at the Power League, I get rammed into the wall. Do you know what I mean? They don't need an invite. Because they're like, oh, I'm playing again. They still have that same energy.
Yeah, there's an element of that makes you think, I look and think, he's a little bit weak. If I pulled up tonight, I've got a game tonight. With shin pads.
Please do it as for Bants, though. Like, just bring them. Please bring them.
I'll actually do it for Bants and I'll get some clips of
Yeah, please. That'll be jokes. Like, please just bring them and be dead serious and see if anyone notices or if anyone says anything.
I actually will do that.
Declan Rice is the best signing Arsenal have made since Thierry Henry.
Tap in. Oh, I'm going to let you go first because I can talk about Declan all day.
Listen, I love Dec. And I love him that much that I know, what he did against Madrid. I know we can do more of that. I just think to say the best signing since Thierry, I just think he needs to win something. He needs to take Arsenal to the title. I know he's still got an opportunity this year with the Champions League, but he hasn't done it yet. If Arsenal finish third and get knocked out, it's not a great season. But I think for me, I'd go Fabregas.
Declan Rice, man. I mean, I've been talking about him for ages. Like, I don't really wear football shirts, right? But when England play, I have Declan Rice on the back of my shirt. I love Harry Kane as well, right? But I love Declan Rice. Like, what he did over those 2 games against Real Madrid, player of the match, both games, right? Not just those 2 games. Not just those 2 games, but everything about him, consistent. When he was at West Ham, he was a centre-back, right? They made him into a midfielder. Now he's become this, like, I just think, look at those players against Real Madrid.
He's trying to make me change my mind.
Some of the best in the world. And I just love him. I love him off the pitch. I think he's such a top guy.
Oh, he is.
And, yeah, I'm tapping in on that one.
You can tell a player's level by the way they take a throw-in.
I disagree with that. But what I will say, just to touch on it, is I've seen top players at the top level, like wingers or strikers, try and take throw-ins and they can't.
I'm terrible.
And you'd be like,
I feel weird. When I take a throw, I feel weird. Like, I don't know because you're not used to it. Like, being a fullback, you would be, right?
Yeah. So I said, because I'm for my whole life taking throw-ins, it's just a normal thing for me. Then when I see someone take one quick, it's a foul throw.
I don't really give foul throws anymore.
Nah, not really. But I didn't. That's why I disagree, because you can't tell the level. Because I've seen the best players in the Premier League who can't take them. It frustrates me now when I watch football and I see people who take throw-ins and they give the ball back to the other team. I consider that as, you've lost possession. You've got the ball. Wait, like, you've got time.
Football is better with commentary in a foreign language.
It's a difficult one to answer because one of my good friends, he does that goal.
Oh, yeah.
Like Nico Cantor, Andreas' dad.
Yeah.
He does it and it's really iconic, in Hispanic culture. But like, I don't know, like, I've lived all over the world and I do find it a little bit more passionate though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it sounds nice.
I get what you're saying.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when a goal's scored, it's like, goal! And they long it out, but...
Yeah, it's nice. It's more passionate. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, we're in England. I really enjoy listening to Guy Neville.
Yeah.
I really do. But no, I do get that.
And me, I'd hope you'd like to say as well.
No, of course. That's a given. That's a given.
I agree with you, though. I think when ex-players have been there, done that, there's certain people that I think when they're talking, and it's not just because they're ex-Man United, I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to you.
You need a lucky run to win the Champions League.
We both agree. I thought you was going to say, because of what we said earlier about what's harder to win, I thought you were going to say yes. I thought you were going to tap that in.
Because I don't think you need that every year. I still think the best team can go and win, and Real Madrid can go and beat everyone. But I still think if you're maybe not one of the top teams, you need a bit of luck.
Like Inter, for example.
Yeah, you need a bit of luck to get through, and or you avoid a certain... Now with the new format, with this top 8, middle 8 now, and I'm sure Liverpool got a tough game, and they, as a team that went into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Arnie Slot said, didn't he? It's kind of not fair that they got who they got when they topped the...
It's like American style, playoff style, innit? It's a bit like that.
So I just think, I do... No, I'm VAR on that. It depends.
You do need a little bit of luck, but at the same time, I think ultimately the best team always wins.
Making us think here.
I know.
City's treble side would beat United's treble side.
Listen, I think we both going to.
Well, people can say we're biased, but you go first, Danny. Why you think?
Obviously, for me, that was the first team I seen as a kid growing up, and I just think, player for player, I actually think they were better. What Roy Keane did for Man United, Paul Scholes is for me one of the best players I've ever trained with and seen. Beckham was my idol growing up. What Giggs has won 13 Premier Leagues. The York and Cole combination, our second strikers, Solskjaer, Sheringham, how important they were to have 4 strikers. You imagine now having 4 strikers.
But even Roy Keane and Scholes couldn't play in the final, and that just epitomises. You look at the actual squad. You have players like Jesper Blomqvist, players that played in the squad, Van der Gaal. That people would never even remember, but they are treble winners. And I think it's honestly difficult to compare football now.
Yeah, it is.
Compared to before. Because if you're asking me if I'd want Kevin De Bruyne in this Man United treble team, I'm like, yeah. But how can you say I'd want Kevin De Bruyne over Roy Keane in that era? Because I wouldn't.
And I think formations have changed. And I just said then, you play with 2 up front, 2 centre mids, box to box. 1 would go forward, 1 would stay. Now you just got a 9. Now you got inverted wingers. Now we miss right-footed, cross it, right foot. Now we've got left-footed right wingers. So it's hard actually because I don't actually know where you'd put them.
Yeah, it's now, true. Where would Beckham and Gary Neville and all that play in a system like they have at City? It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, people like Jack Grealish can't even get in the City's team.
Imagine Haaland now trying to play 2 up front, having a partner to, do 1-2s with and run off. It doesn't work like that, does it? So.
I mean, both great sides. I mean, we're not discrediting. I mean, as much as I love United, City, what they've done and the players they've had individually, I'd love if those players were at Man United now. Yeah. But I'm still going Man United treble team.
United.
Players don't owe fans an apology.
Tap in.
VAR.
Why?
For me, this could be taken in different ways. But when players go on socials after a game and they write, it's like it's been copied and pasted. Sorry about the result today. We'll be better next time, and then they're not better next time. At points, I'm just like, listen, let your football do the talking. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't even have all this social media stuff where players had to go and apologise. On the flip side, if there's something that's really not great that's happened, or a team has not been great, like a Southampton issue or something like that, then I think they probably do owe an apology. But I've come from a place where I'm like, I don't want to keep hearing you saying, we'll be better next week. It's like they've all copied and pasted what each other said. What do you reckon?
No, look, I think if I was lucky, I was in a great escape team before we won the league with Leicester, and we tried our best. But I think it depends on the manner of how you're getting beat. If you've lost that many games, and I just think deep down, if you genuinely think you could have done more as a team and as players, I think there's fans coming, spending their money, they've got their opinions. I think Jamie Vardy coming out, I know he'll be disappointed. He's had 2 relegations. He's done everything for that club, and I genuinely feel like he's hurt. He's leaving Leicester, in this situation, and I think he's, apologised, and I understand why.
See, I think that's different though. I'm all for that. Do you understand me? That's why I said go to VAR because that I agree with 100%. But when they're going on socials after games apologising for performances, when they've been poor or when they've let stuff in, I don't want to hear all that. But I think for the Vardy one, 100% agree with, end of the season. I'm sure there's times players do want to be honest on socials. But, we saw Ollie Watkins the other day. I loved that interview.
I loved that.
Loved it. And thankfully, he didn't get hammered for it, because imagine maybe if that was Rashford, it would be a different story. Yeah, do you know what I mean? There's certain players, but I like Ollie Watkins, and I love the fact he was I was fuming.
Yeah,
that didn't play.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Just, let's say what we really think.
I know. So moving on to round 4, this is the hat trick, where you're going to hear some unheard stories from myself and Danny.
Are there any clubs you nearly moved to that we don't know about?
Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah, secret. I'd say actually, yeah. So when I left Leicester, Ricardo Pereira had come in, and I just felt we felt it was time to move on. I wanted to still play week in, week out, and he obviously is a top right back. And Nottingham Forest came in, and there's obviously a bit of a rivalry between Leicester and Forest. And I didn't end up going. I just said I need some more time to think, because Celtic was an option. So obviously I'm thinking I want to go up to Celtic. Nothing against Forest, because they are a massive club. But I wanted a Celtic move to go and play and win titles and play into Champions League. Forest ended up signing Carl Jenkinson. So then that was now a no-go. And yeah, I was pretty much close to then to sign for Celtic, and it fell through at the last minute. So I went from having 2 clubs to none.
What, it fell through because was it a whole David De Gea situation? The fax machine didn't work at midnight.
It was a difference of opinion. I spoke to Neil Lennon. It was all done. I spoke to, when you speak to like the player liaison, and he asks you what size trainers you are, what size kit. I'm all there. I was doing a camp at the time. Don't worry, come in on Monday, and then over the next few days, I think they was playing in Europe, maybe qualifying, or something happened, and I think there's someone else maybe at the time was a better fit. But if I'd have gone in straight away on day one, I would have signed. And then another option came along, maybe cheaper. I don't know. So I went from having 2 clubs in the space of a month to none.
So did you really think about like the rivalry with Forest? Was that a major factor for you leaving Leicester to go somewhere like that?
It was actually, because I knew I didn't want to. I think Leicester fans would have been like, "Wow, you're going to Forest after what you've done for us." But obviously, in hindsight, I probably should have signed. But it's just something for me. That was at the end of my career as well, and I lost 2 big clubs. Just by in decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the women's game it's a little bit different because obviously the game's evolved in recent years where there's like agents, which is great, and there's more protection for players. But I think one of the teams I was going to sign for was in New Jersey, and then the league folded in America, and I ended up going to play in Spain in Espanyol for like the season, which I was fine with.
Good, right?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like I loved living in Barcelona.
Yeah.
It was brilliant living there. But I think one of my only regrets was that when I signed for Juventus, the day I signed, Manchester United women announced they had a team. So I was so grateful for Juventus. Like they signed me when I was injured. I tore my ACL meniscus. I was in the, I'm a sponge with footballers. I love football. I'm in the gym with Buffon, Higuain. I'm thinking I'm playing for the men's team. Cristiano signs a week later. I'm like, when I heard the rumours of Cristiano signing, I was like, nah, this, you go on socials and I'm like, he signed. Again, similar to Dennis Bergkamp, I just want to go and watch him train, and I'm there every game at Juventus. I used to go in the snow. I'd go on my own. I'm watching Cristiano play. I don't care. No one's stopping me. And I was there all the time. But then Man United women announced, and they didn't have a women's team back in the day. They, when you were there, they had an academy, but they didn't have a women's first team. What I would have loved to have ended my career at Man United. I used to have dreams of like playing with Rooney up front, and I'd be scoring. I'd wake up, I'm like, no, I'm in a dream. But like genuinely, like I loved that club, as you know, and like I don't know, like I just really wish I could have ended my career at Man United. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, you had a great career though, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I can't complain. Danny, we're less than 50 days to go until the FIFA Club World Cup, the first ever one. I'm excited for it. I'll tell you about my experience because I'm over there in America. I work in England and America. What are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm actually looking forward to it. I think to be in North America, I think as a player, I actually genuinely wish I played in America. I think towards the end of my career, I would have loved that. I know you did, so you know a lot more about it than me. But I think to go over to America and have that opportunity to be the first new tournament, I think it's going to be special. I'm looking forward. I'll be watching it. I'll be tuning in. And I think for players, we like pre-season. We like going around, seeing,
Well, a lot of them are in America anyway, pre-season,
traveling, exactly. So we like traveling the world. I think it's a great opportunity to, in the middle, I think it's June to the middle of July, to go out there and play and try and win another trophy and play against other players that you never would have played against.
Yeah, I mean, I work a lot in Miami, and I've seen that there's so much excitement at the stadiums, in and around it, the airports, and like in Miami, they have Messi, but they also have Suarez, Jordi Alba, Busquets, and it's actually quite funny because it's like it's just Messi mania, honestly, everywhere you go. And also, I'm excited to see like how I often get asked like the difference in the leagues, MLS to the Premier League, or whether it be the NWSL in America to the league here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the teams kind of like fare and the different climates.
Well, yeah, that's it. Because like I said, when we go on our pre-season tours and it's hot, we do sort of struggle. So maybe teams like Real Madrid, Atletico, them teams, they're probably going to be okay with it. But obviously the English teams, how are they going to cope? Playing out some pre-season is more about fitness. This is a bit different. It's to win the tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone copes with playing against different players that maybe they don't know, and obviously the climates. And
Real Madrid as well. I mean, the fact they're not going to win the Champions League and probably not La Liga, I think this will probably be like a good pre-season for them. It'll be good because it'll be competitive against top teams, and I'll be interested to see like how each coach and manager is going to put out their 11. Do you know what I mean? Like what teams are going to be starting. So Danny, it's our first episode. That's a wrap. I have a feeling that we could talk all day and all night about these different types of topics, but it's been fantastic. Can't wait for the next one.
Feel free to give us some hot takes, ask us some questions, drop some comments. We're looking forward to reading them, and we'll pick some out.
Yeah, we'll choose some of them maybe. So let us know.